Welcome back. Before the break, we discussed the debate over lab testing for tick-borne illnesses. However, it isn't just Lyme advocates who are fighting for change. It appears many federal and state lawmakers have taken up the banner.
This bill is dedicated to those chronic Lyme sufferers out there who have been ill for years, at times seemingly without hope, wondering if anyone in Washington was listening or cared. We hear you.
When lawmakers first introduced the Tick-Borne Disease Research, Accountability, and Transparency Act of 2014, it was with the hope of improving tick-borne disease diagnosis, treatment, outcomes, and prevention with more research.
There needs to be those studies. You could fit on half a page the number of studies that have been done over these many years.
It passed in the House, but died in the Senate. Lawmakers reintroduced the act in 2015, but more than a year later, it appears to have lost momentum, which is why many Lyme sufferers have taken their fight to the state level. In Virginia, 2 Lyme bills were introduced this legislative session. Senate Bill 671 offers protections for doctors who want to try other treatment options for Lyme patients, like longer-term antibiotics.
What winds up happening is they wind up persecuting the doctors who are on the front lines. And therefore, it's really hard for them to be able to get ahead, do the research, write peer-reviewed articles, because they're constantly under scrutiny and attacked from medical boards.
This bill passed in the Senate and went to a House committee for review. House Bill 962, introduced in the State House, hopes to fortify the existing Lyme disease testing information disclosure law, which requires all medical professionals who order the CDC-recommended 2-tier serology testing to notify the patient in writing that a negative test does not necessarily mean you do not have Lyme disease, and that if you have continued symptoms, you should inquire about the appropriateness of retesting or additional treatment. Lyme advocates say this updated legislation is necessary because it appears not all doctors are handing out this letter. The House bill joins the Senate bill in the hands of House committee members. In Delaware, legislators also introduced 2 new bills, HB 290 and 291. The first gives DNREC the authority to address tick mitigation, similar to mosquito control. The second would create an oversight board to educate healthcare professionals about tick-borne illnesses. And in Maryland, a huge win for Lyme patients this year. On May 10th, Governor Larry Hogan signed companion bills SB 926 and HB 399 into law. This means, as of October 1st, Maryland doctors will have a similar testing disclosure requirement to that of Virginia. In committee hearings, there was some opposition to the language of the bill.
Long-term antibiotics is not an inconsequential thing. There's a lot of concern about antibiotic resistance. These hearings are very challenging. We just want to make sure the information is accurate.
It has the potential to immunize a doctor who doesn't keep up with science.
Despite this, the legislation passed in both the Senate and House unanimously.
I now feel that we have a really good working relationship with our representatives, and they get it. And I always say, this war, we're winning the war one bite at a time.
Lots of legislative movement this year, but Lyme advocates say they can't spend too much time celebrating. They're focused on helping one of the most at-risk groups, our kids. More on that coming up.